ideas of reference, loose association, flight of ideas, free-floating anxiety, free-floating anger. These 5 terms are from the fields of psychiatry, psychology, and human behavior. A quick disclaimer, my definitions of these 5 terms is very basic and very abbreviated. There's a lot of scholarship and literature regarding all 5 of these terms, and if you're interested in learning more about them, I encourage you to research that literature. A second disclaimer, just because somebody occasionally experiences or has these types of thoughts that these terms apply to does not mean that they have a thought disorder or a mental condition or anything of the sort. Most of us will experience these at different times in our thinking processes. Ideas of reference are when one relates 2 unrelated ideas, events, or experiences and gives meaning to them. In other words, they think that somehow an event or experience is related to themselves when there is no correlation between that event or experience to themselves. An example would be, there was a terrible storm off the coast of Japan, and I thought because of that I should make scrambled eggs rather than pancakes today. So my idea of reference is about that storm in Japan, and I'm referencing it with what I'm going to make for breakfast. And there's no logical, rational, or obvious association between a storm off the coast of Japan and what I'm going to eat for breakfast. However, I'm relating those two erroneously or fallaciously. I think that there is a relationship between that storm and my breakfast. Loose association is somewhat similar in that it is when one thinks, speaks, or writes about ideas, experiences, and events that have no relationship with one another. So if someone is thinking or speaking or writing, they're jumping from one topic to another topic, and there's no correlation or relation between the topics. I have a very good friend, Dwayne, who, when I have a conversation with him, it's very difficult to follow the conversation because the conversation jumps from one thing to another. He's talking about his grandchildren, then he's talking about a taxi run in Door County, then he's talking about the weather. He's all over the place, and he's got this loose association. So you have to really pay attention to what he's saying, because one thing doesn't lead to another. He just jumps around from one topic to another, and each ensuing topic has nothing at all to do with the previous topic. It's a challenge to understand him and to follow his train of thinking. Flight of ideas is when one has thoughts that are racing and going very quickly, and their thoughts are racing. They're thinking about different things very quickly, and flight of ideas can be caused by stress, heightened emotional state, anxiety, fear. For instance, when one is dreaming and they're being chased by a dinosaur, they might have flight of ideas. Should I run to my house? Should I run to the school? You're just thinking really quickly and not focusing on any one thought, but thoughts are going from one to another very quickly. That's flight of ideas. Free-floating anxiety is when one is experiencing anxiety that the anxiety may not be caused by a particular thing. One just has this general state of fear and nervousness and anxiousness, and what it's caused by is not necessarily obvious. One is just experiencing this anxiety. Free-floating anger like free-floating anxiety is when one is in this state. However, instead of being in a state of anxiety or anxiousness, that a person is in a state of anger. And what's causing that free-floating anger may be known or may not be known. When I'm driving on the freeway, I seem to encounter a lot of people with free-floating anger. The way they drive their cars, the way they tailgate, the way they speed. I don't know this for certain, but I sense that a lot of them just have this inside rage. And when they get out on that freeway, when they get in the social environment of driving cars in a group, that free-floating anger just manifests itself with totally dangerous, angry behavior.